Alright, hi everybody. This is a quick overview of getting into MyLabs Plus for instructors. Um, now, the basics of getting into the system are not hard, and a lot of this is has um, instructions directly on the English 101 syllabus. So some of the stuff will be pretty simple, but I just wanted to take you through it in a video form, which might help some people. So first we go to the MyLabs Plus website, which is coppin.mylabsplus.com. Now, I've set up a little training course, but when you normally log in, you will see your actual MyLabs Plus courses that are set up for each semester. Since our term hasn't started yet, we don't have a course. We don't have courses to go, so I've created a training course. So I'm going to click in here. Alright, now this is the basic splash page of the English 101 My Writing Lab course. You can see you can see these little icons here, and this just means that this is stuff that the student does not see. Okay, so the basic splash page that you get to is the course home. Alright, now this will take you, this is the basic homepage of everything. The students all see this. Now, from a student perspective, what they do, the first thing they want to do is build their what they call learning path. Now this is a customized learning experience for them. It's basically a diagnostic test that assesses where they are as a writer. So I'll click in here and show you. It's 140 questions. I do believe they can save it and work on it later, but they can't go back. They can't backtrack. So I'm going to start this test real quick. And here we would have stuff like parts of speech. Identify the adverbs. I'm happy that Ben is enjoying his job so much. So B is the adverb. So identify the nouns. Laurel's been my best friend since the 8th grade. Sorry, Laurel's been my friend since the 8th grade. Right. Now, we could go 140 questions of this, and all students will do that. If they don't do the test, it will assign all the MyLabs work to them. It will not give them credit for anything they already know. So on this test, if they know commas, they're not going to have to do commas in the actual MyLabs workbook. So I'm going to submit this test. It says you have not completed all parts. Are you sure you only need yes? You have not completed your assignment. I'm going to submit the test anyway. Alright, so since I didn't really submit any of the Path Builder stuff, it's going to make me do 4 modules, which is basically all the My Writing Lab work for the semester. So there's 4 basic modules: basic grammar, sentence skills, punctuation, mechanics of spelling, and usage of the style. Now that creates what they call the learning path. Now this is what most students will see when they come into the site. After they do their learning path, they go to the course home and they'll see these 4 blocks. Now, the basic how they work on it, they click into one of these blocks and they will get a set of activities. You can see it says topics, activities, they do, attempts, current score. Now, each one of these little topics, which is there's 11 of them in the first one, there's 5 little activities or 6 little activities. Or it's actually 6 activities that go along with it. So first thing is they do the overview, and this is just basically a handout. they can print. I always encourage my students to print it out, have it next to them, but this is basically like stuff from a grammar handbook. Right? It's very helpful. I tell students to print it out and have it with them. And all they have to do is read it. Second thing is the animation, which covers the same material, but it's in a video form. You can see
Parts of speech.
this is basically a little bit of a presentation on the same material. So once they do the overview and the animation, they get credit for it. Now, the actual work that they have to do is the recall and apply activity. Recall, apply, and post-test activities. The recall activity is basically a multiple choice quiz, based on the handout. Which of the answers provides a clause from the following sentence? The batter swung and the umpire yelled, strike. So a clause, we'll check our answer. Now, you can see here in the recall activity, you get immediate feedback. The student gets the immediate feedback. Rather than, unlike the diagnostic where they don't, they actually get correction here if they get something wrong. So I'm going to go to the next. Identify the complete verb. I can't wait until graduation. I think the complete verb is cannot wait. Yep. Some of these questions are legitimately difficult. Identify each noun. I have to read 3 chapters and write an essay. Alright, so. Alright, now I'm going to get one wrong. Identify the relative pronoun. James is the one who left his keys in the car. Well, I don't know exactly what a relative pronoun is in this context, so I'm going to check. Oh, look. Pronouns are the words that replace nouns or other pronouns and phrases. Relative pronouns can join 2 short sentences. Okay. So it looks like true. Final check, and yes, good. Alright. So I'm going to save for later. Now you can see now that I've done my recall activity, but I got a little green check. That just means I'm working on it. Recall 2 is similar kind of thing. I'm going to have to pop in there. I'm just going to do one question. That's made. Alright. I'm going to save that for later too. Now, you can see that once I did this, it opens up the next activity. Now, I didn't get mastery of them. I didn't get full credit for them, but I started. Now, here is the apply section is a little bit more complicated. This is kind of actual editing. So we're going to identify the verbs in the patches by clicking on linking verbs, main verbs, or helping verbs. So, consists, extends, passes, taken. Well, that's an infinitive verb, but anyway, so I can score the question. All right. So once I submit that activity, right, you'll see that I got 68%. Now, the key thing for students to do here is to pass the post-test. This gives them mastery of the activity. And it's the same kind of thing. It's a recall. What's the dependent clause? And part of it. So, all right. So, now, the whole idea that if you skip a passing grade on the post-test, which is 70%. You get mastery of the topic. Now, how I grade MyLabs Plus, I look at the topics list. I set a module due date for each module, module 1 through 4, and then I look at how many of these topics they've achieved mastery over in that time frame. So if they pass the post-test, they will get mastery of the topic, and I give them a grade out of, based on how many topics they get. So if they get 11 topics mastered, they get 100% in my grade book. If they get 8, it's 77 or something like that. So, so it's a score out of 11. So 7 out of 11, 6 out of 11, 5 out of 11, 10 out of 11. All right. This kind of keeps the grading to a minimum in terms of interventions from the actual instructor. So now that's basically repeated. I'm going to go back to the learning path. You can see it's sentence skills, punctuation mechanics, usage and style. All it's just basically the rinse and repeat. It's the same thing. Now, what we can do as instructors, go down here to course tools. We actually have a gradebook that records these results. So if you go to gradebook, you can actually view the results by the learning path, and you could see, drilling into each student like this, which modules and which subjects they mastered. All right, so for now, that's really all you need to know about the basics. I'm going to do another video that we can actually share with students that will walk them through the same thing. So if you have any questions, please feel free to get with me.